I was out of control. I couldn't have a say in that at that point. And so by no means did she get suspended or did she get in trouble for the gum. That wasn't even the issue. That's what initiated, but then when she flat out said, I'm not spitting out my effing gum or something like that, or to those words right back at me. But then, like I said, then we get her to go into the room. We tried to calm her down, but then she was doing it. So, so then that same day, her parents came back in. I spoke to the parents. We had a nice conference with the parents. I told them I would do what I needed to do on any influence that I could have over the law enforcement side. So then when the so then this past Thursday was weird because I saw your video, and that was over the weekend, but Thursday was her court date, and I went to court. First thing I did, the parents walked in, she walked in, we talked, and I told the parents, I said, I don't want her to have a record. I don't want anything with a record on her, I don't want any criminal thing on her record. I said, yes, she's starting out at Wayne Academy. I said, but then she has the right to come back here. We'll always be her home-based school. She'll come back here. They do it first semester. So she could come back here after Christmas as long as she had good behavior grades and attendance at the alternative school. So then when so then the district attorney came up to me. I spoke to the district attorney, and then also the judge spoke to me at that point, and I repeated the same thing. And so they couldn't eliminate everything, because I wanted them just to drop everything. They couldn't drop everything because she had 2 offenses against her. Remember the one that I said before? There was one from 2 weeks prior that she pushed another staff member, and
so she was arrested that time?
No, she wasn't arrested, but they had to. There was a police report, and there had to be a charge at that point because she pushed the other staff member.
So did they charge her at the time? Because that doesn't seem, like if she does this, then they can't go back in retrospect and say, yo, we're going to charge you with that. I don't think that's. I mean, if they was going to charge her, wouldn't they have charged her at the time of the incident?
Well, once it becomes with that point, the resource officer fills out a report, and then what it comes of it at that point, I don't know. Like, all that we can do as the principals is just deal with the school side of it. So with here, like I said, this is my assistant principal is about this one. She got suspended from school for pushing the thing, but then the resource officer, I guess they push any staff member, that's when the resource officer has to write a report, and then whatever comes of that. Now, so apparently she was charged at that point. Apparently she was charged for pushing the office staff member, and because what the district attorney told me the other day when I said, she said we can't drop everything because she had the previous incident. And so, but what they did do, they dropped it all the way down, and I didn't know all their lingo in the courtroom, but they dropped it all the way down to a level 1 where she's just on the probation, but if she has good behavior and all that with the probation officer can take her off of the probation, or can recommend to the judge to take her off the probation. That was that incident.
Well,
and
they said that there's students who said that you ordered everybody out of the classroom and was in the classroom yelling at students and teachers.
Yeah. There was only 2 students in the room. So when there is an incident like this, when there's any incident if there's any physical altercation or if there's a student cursing in the room, we always remove. If the student won't remove, by practice we remove the other students. If like I said, if it's any physical or if there's any verbal things going on, so the other students don't have to witness it, we either move. If the student won't move from the room, we're not going to physically remove the student. So if the student won't move from the room, then we move the other students. But like I said, it was between 8:15 and 9, so there was only 2 students at the time that we moved across to the other classroom across the way.
So what about the reports of, yelling? Like there was a student who wrote a report that said that they could hear you yelling at her. And of course there's, a couple of teachers who said the same thing.
Well, the other two teachers that said that, one was upstairs and one was down in her classroom. So Ms. Clark would not have been able to hear any yelling, even if there was somebody yelling at the top of her lungs. She would not have been able to hear. And the other, Ms. Harris, was upstairs. She was substituting for an upstairs classroom that day. So they were nowhere even near the incident, either of those two.
What about the other student that wrote the report?
The other student. Well, I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't raise my voice. I'm sure I probably raised my voice. Not at the student. One time I was raising my voice in the radio saying, first we were calling the resource officer, but we were, and, you know, I mean, when, I can't tell you the level that what my voice was, but was I yelling at the student? No, because Mr. Hunter was in the room with the student. I was in the room. I wasn't even in the room. I was out in the hallway with Mr. Stevens, the behavior specialist. And like I said, I wasn't even involved in the whole thing. I was in and out because I was down the hall. Once I knew there was other people there, I wasn't, I mean, I had to go elsewhere in the school at the time, at the same time.
Okay, they were, of course, there's documentation that said that you were, you know, on the walkie-talkie, as you mentioned, saying, you know, call the police.
Right.
When she ran upstairs, like, you know, and I read I guess your response to Mrs. Harris' complaint of the incident. So you read that whole complaint, and you know, in your response, you mentioned that, you know, you were kind of concerned with the safety and the staff, as if, you know, the little 12-year-old girl was a school shooter with a gun. I mean,
no,
you know,
never said that.
No. But that's what I'm saying. That's what your verbiage implies. Of saying, okay, I was concerned with the safety of the students and my staff. Like, she's a 12-year-old girl. I'm sure, I've never seen her, but I'm pretty sure she's no physical threat to you or any of the officers. So when you kind of use that verbiage, you know, you kind of escalate the situation as well. When, you know, well, once again, from reports, I wasn't there, of course, but, you know, I can imagine, you know, they said you're running up the stairs very loud, saying call the police, and, you know, making the situation, you know, of course, escalated as far as, you know, the people around were concerned. And, you know, as Ms. Harris stated in her report, I'm sure you read it as well, that, you know, you refuse to let her, who has a rapport and is an assistant behavioral specialist, if I'm not incorrect, to intervene.
Okay, but there's several things there. Yes, number one, by far, my priority at this school will be for the safety of the students and the staff. By far, number one. So when you have a student, and it could be in any grade, because we've had incidents at all different schools where it doesn't matter what age they are. So when she ran out of the room that she was in, and she ran into a bathroom that is not even the sixth grade bathroom. So we don't know what she's doing in there. So we didn't go in there. We didn't know what she was doing in there. And we were waiting for Miss Baker, the social worker. Once she got back, we were going to get her to go into there and to assist. But you don't know what she's doing at that point. So, yes, we are going to take all precautions at that point. And like I said, the only people, or the only person that is, and first of all, I didn't even know she had a rapport with the student. I would not have known that. I did not know she had a rapport with the student. I didn't know that she was related to, or if she is related to, I don't know to this day if she's related to the student. And plus, then she had a group of kids that she was responsible for at her door as well. So once she ran out of the classroom downstairs, that's what it alarmed us. It alarmed the resource officer, it alarmed the behavior specialist, and it alarmed me at that point because she went on a full speed out of there. So you didn't know
what was her reason for running out of the classroom?
We didn't know she was going to be a threat to herself either at that point. We didn't know she was going to be a threat to herself.
What was her reason for running out of the classroom? I mean, like,
that's what we don't know. We didn't know at that point.
I mean, if you don't know, like, if you're in the classroom talking with her, right? Were you in the classroom with her?
I was in the hallway.
So yes, she was in the classroom by herself.
Forward, yes.
So you were so she just, no one was in the classroom talking with her. She just ran out of the classroom.
Yes, Mr. Hunter was the teacher in the classroom. He was trying to talk to her. She wasn't talking to him. And
so you weren't in the classroom talking to her.
I was not.
contrary
I was
to,
never even in the class.
you know,
I was
the
never even
reports.
in the classroom. I was never in the classroom. And then when I was in the hallway, and when she ran out of the room, I wasn't even in the hall. I was in another part of the school because I was in and out of the situation. And so then when they radioed saying that she just left the classroom, but ran out of the classroom, yes, so that's when people got alarmed, yes.
Okay, so, you know that I mean, was guy. I mean, I work with children as well, so I just know children don't just, you know, run off and lock themselves in the bathroom for no apparent reason. I think you know that as well. You know, without
That's why
any.
we were worried about the health of her own self as well.
Yeah, but
And
I'm saying
the
like
other students, you didn't
there's
know.
yeah, there's no, you know, like I said, I can, once again, I'm with me being not being there, you know, I have to
Right.
do nothing but speculate on logic. You know, if once again the report saying that, you know, you or someone was in there getting loud, getting confrontational with the child, then that's the only reason I would see that the child would run out. You know, if there's
And
no
that,
confrontation, or someone's in there talking to her calmly, you know,
but that's
there's
an
no
incorrect
reason for.
assumption right there. That's an incorrect assumption because when she ran out, you're stating that I was there yelling at her when she ran out.
No,
I
I'm not
wasn't even
stating
near
that.
the room.
Several people have stated that.
I was not near the room. I was
Uh-huh.
not near the room when she came out. I was all the way down by the bus parking lot when she came out of her classroom.
So when so you're saying when you told her to give you the gun, she says I'm effing not giving you the gun. So then she walks in the classroom, then you leave and come back. Like at what point did you leave? At that point, because it doesn't, you know, if your reasoning
She kept walking
uh-huh.
from the spot in the hallway
And
all
past
the way
you.
to the classroom. The behavior specialist and myself stood outside of the classroom. I stood out there for probably 15 seconds. The teacher was in there.
So after she pushed past you, like she pushed past you, right? Like there are reports that you tried to block her. Once again, that those are reports. So she pushed past you. Is that when you left and then came back? Because you know, if you're at the classroom and there's a situation to this magnitude, if you're, you know, counting it that as far as to be calling the police, I don't see why you would leave and then come back. That doesn't really, you know, kind of fit.
There's a couple things here. Once I had the behavior specialist there, I did go back and forth. I wasn't needed to be standing there the entire time, and it was calm at that situation. The teacher was in there, and the behavior specialist was out there. We did not call for the police until she ran out of that room. And I don't even know if I was the first one that called. I think it was the resource officer. He might have called for extra police at that point. But because I was not even near there when she came out of the room.
Okay, so you were the only time you were there was when she walked in the class, you know, without your permission,
Yes.
and then you left and didn't come back until
When
she
I didn't
ran
come
out.
back until she was gone. And so the next time I saw her was after the classroom was down back in the office, because by that time she was up in the bathroom. But then when she came out of the bathroom, I left again because there was people standing up there. And so
you saying
the first down in the office.
The first time you saw her was when she pushed past you in the classroom, and then the next
Right.
time that you saw her was down in the office. So none of that about you, you know, being involved in that whole situation is truth.
No, I ended up outside of the bathroom upstairs at one point, but never saw her.
Okay. And so then you went outside, and then you saw her in the office.
Later on, I probably about 10 minutes later. Now remember, also, it's the first day of testing, so we're trying to see. That's another thing. We're trying to keep the entire school, you know, from because you know you didn't want to have a lockdown. You didn't want to have anything like that during, you know, a testing when we're getting ready for the testing. I mean, so you're trying to, so yes, I'm making a whole bunch of decisions quickly at the time. And the first one was to get her parents there. And we even, like I said, we even sent the social worker to the parents' house to go get them because the phone wasn't working, the phone number that they had on record. So we even sent my social worker to the house.
All right. So they said, of course, like past the incident because there's two different conflicting stories. So of course So then they said when before she got that she finally came out of the bathroom and she was told that her parents were going to be in that office, and when she got in there, okay, what that's what they said that they heard that something to the effect that she was assuming that her parents were going to be in the office. So then she said she got into the office to see 3 police officers and yourself, if I'm not mistaken. And
yeah, but that wasn't true either because I walked up on him. There's 2 police officers there. To my knowledge, there was 2. There was our resource officer and then one other one.
So
to my knowledge.
So they were in your office?
No, they were. She was sitting. Apparently, like I said, I walked up on this. She was sitting there, and I don't know if her parents. I don't know if her parents were in the car outside. They were waiting to come in. I don't know.
They said that when her parents came in, she had already been taken to jail.
Okay. Well, maybe that was it. And so she was. Yeah. So when I walked up on him, she was having the disagreement with the police officers at that point.
She was having a disagreement. So you didn't see how that started, or you don't.
No, I didn't see how that started.
And then you said you saw her kicking the police or something.
Or I did see that because she knocked off their cameras and she was threatening them at that point. She threatened resource officer. No, she threatened the behavior specialist at that time. Anybody she saw. There was a woman there that showed up. There was another woman, female officer, that showed up after. I guess she's in charge of all the resource officers for the county. I guess she showed up, and I think she got threatened too.
So how long did the whole incident last, from the not throwing out the gum until what'd you say? Until she was arrested for assaulting officers, which once again is a 12-year-old child. So I think that's a little bit excessive.
Okay, but you gotta understand, I'm not involved in that part.
Yeah, I know you're not involved, but once again, there's a catalyst. Once again, there's a escalation situation where if from my understanding, once again, that previous incident that she was suspended for, and once again you may have a different turn of events, but they said that you were kind of involved with that, where she kind of cursed you out or something like that, which once again, I know 12-year-old children. I work with 12-year-old children out here, and they do curse, they get disrespectful. So if that's true, then that leads me to believe, okay, well, she comes back from a 10-day suspension, and then if you see her once again chewing gum.
There's a lot of assumptions here, and which is not fair at all to me. There's a lot of assumptions because I even told the police officer, I said he's the one who reminded me, the resource officer, that she had just come back from suspension.
So you didn't know she was suspended?
I knew when she came back, that she was one of the 2 girls that had gum, that I just said, spit out your gum. No, I did not know. I had no idea. I didn't even know that until after this whole incident happened, that she had previously been suspended. Like, I forgot about that incident. Like, that wasn't ringing a bell to me. So that's a huge assumption to say that, I was waiting for this girl to come back.
Yeah. I mean, once again, I've been a 12-year-old student, and I've had trouble in school too. So I know once I get on the teacher's bad side, then I am a target. I don't, once again, you can say it's an assumption, but that that's a fact that I've known through being a child and also working in schools myself. So.
What's interesting with this child, like I even said this in court the other day. I said the whole first half of the year, well, even more than that, past Christmas, this child would come up to me in the hallways, speak to me, like just about different stuff, like even non-schools, just randomly, just speaking to me, like in a friendly way. And I said that, and could even her parents said, and this is where maybe a little bit what you're saying makes sense, because her parents even said, maybe then all of a sudden, yeah, she was wrong about the gum, she was wrong about the cursing, all that, even that whole incident.
Yeah.
But maybe at that point she was like upset because I was one that she would always come up and talk to and stuff like that. And now all of a sudden she sees the other side. You see what I mean?
Yeah, and just once again, just going through the situation and knowing children, like what I said, if a child, like you said, she runs up and locks herself in the bathroom, that doesn't
Right.
seem like a, instant for that. That sounds like a mental health crisis, but,
Right.
She may have been going through a mental health crisis at that time, but yet and still she ends up, in an encounter with police when then of course the mental health crisis escalates. Maybe they don't know how to deal with children and they kind of once again made her feel threatened or whatever have you. But my concern is just 12-year-old children being confronted by police when they're it's an everyday occurrence that children are going to chew gum, children may curse out a teacher, children may do some things.
Absolutely.
But there's
Absolutely.
like I mentioned before, I'm not saying you saying that, but there's not a sense of, you have to know how to deal with these kids in that manner with de-escalation techniques. Not just say, okay, well, just call the police. Let's get the school resource officer involved. And once again, I don't think you clarified the situation with Miss Harris, where she was trying to intervene, but she said in her statement that you did not allow her to.
Well, she was at her classroom. She needed to stay at her classroom because she had a classroom full of 15 kids at that point. Yes.
Well, she said she was the proctor, which is the proctor could lead. There was another student, another teacher in there as well, from her statement. So, I mean, and in that situation, of course, there's an exception or something. Okay, well, if this lady is able to talk to this child and calm her down, why wouldn't you take every measure to make sure that this lady who's deal with the ISS kids, who deal with the bad kids, is able to try to de-escalate the session instead of a male. I think you said the other behavior specialist was a male, which once again there's a dichotomy there too, where a female is more relatable to a young.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. But I agree with you. And to look, I guess at my mindset at that point was, I have Miss Baker, who's our social worker, coming up, and that is her responsibility, that is her job duty, and so that is one of her things that she's trained to do. And so at that point, that's what I'm thinking at that point.
Okay. Yeah,
that she was going to take care of that, yes. And so maybe it would have been better to get Miss Harris right there real much faster. And like I said, when she came, this is a comment that I also made that's not being said.
Okay.
Right after when she came out of the or when I found out, I guess I found out over the radio that she came out and she was down by the office. At that point, I thought it was over. Like, it was over, fine. Her parents are there, and, like, the issue's over. Like, somebody, like, I assumed at that point Miss Baker had gone up there. She got her to the office, and then, then we were just dealing with it through her parents at that point. And so I even made the comment. I was like, oh, good, we got this resolved. You see, and that's when I walked in at that last point into the office area.
Okay.
But,
well, yeah, that's
like I said, I hate, and you can believe this or not believe this, but I've been doing this for 25 years. I hate, and I would never, and even I would never want somebody to be arrested. First of all, I am one. Mr. Taylor, that I try to, I don't even want the resource officer around here a lot. I don't even want him in front of the school. I sometimes I tell him to park over in the staff parking lot where he's not even seen. I don't like that whole thing. When I started being a principal, we never even had a resource officer.
Yeah, me neither. That's one thing, but once again, that leads to once again legal situations. Is the fact that you have a police officer at a school.
Right.
Whereas, children are going to fight, children are going to call names, children are going to do some things, which children do, like I said. But this thing, once again, is concerned me, is going to follow her, until she's 18. And
I would never call the police on a fight. I never, like, my point is, I understand how kids are going to be. I understand that things are going to come up, and I understand de-escalation activities. I understand all that kind of stuff. And so, no, that bothered me. People may not believe it, but it bothered me, her being taken away in an ambulance. And I was glad I got to speak to her parents a couple hours later when they came back to the school, and we were able to talk, because That bothered me, and I was glad I could see her the other day and help resolve some of these issues. But so no, I don't like that. I don't like just having. I don't like that with kids.
Okay.
I don't want them to have a record. Don't want it at all.
Okay, just a couple of more questions because of like I said, like there's once again there's two sides, and you have I don't. Why do you think that these people would be saying these things then? If you could, because I haven't just known people to make up just stories.
No,
so I don't.
I got a couple more things because so. And the reports about the food, the reports about and like it all wasn't against me. It was against.
Oh yeah, I know that's out of your hands. Yeah, that's definitely out of your hands.
But what I'm saying is the reports from Mr. Hennett and Ms. Clark about the school, about the thing. Because here's the thing. Here's one of the reasons I wanted to call you so much.
Yes, sir.
You can talk to a lot of people from this community. Yes, I'm sure. Look, you can talk to any principal, any community. There's going to be some that like them, some that don't like them. Some, you know what I mean? Some that support them, some that don't support them. Whatever. Okay, that doesn't bother me. And what bothers me is when I was put here in 2020. I was put here. One of the main reasons I was put here was to turn the school around, turn it around, and. So the changes that have been made here, not just there's three changes. One is beautification of the campus, making it clean, making it a place where the kids want to come, making it, putting the college flags up all over the school so that they're starting to think of future, different beautification-wise. Because I don't know if you ever been in here before. 3 years ago, they said it was like a dungeon, and so the difference there. And then the second thing is, Mr. Taylor, the academics. The school was listed as the second statewide, and the numbers show the second lowest school according to proficiency in the entire state of North Carolina. We're the second lowest, second worst school. And so, but now we are in the top 50% in growth of all the schools in the state. And then the third thing is the culture of the and the big thing was about changing the perception of the school, where teachers weren't embarrassed to say they worked at Dillard Middle School, where kids, where it'd be a place that parents wanted to take their kids. We've had kids come in transferring from Eastern Wayne now, Greenwood, Brogden, coming to come to school here. And so in this case, and I don't like to talk negatively about people, so you had said why are a couple of them saying stuff. Mr. Hennett, it was weird because, again, before you think, I wrote him a letter last week, a handwritten letter. I sent it to him to meet with me, just one-on-one. So I don't want to be against each other. I want to be, if he wants to help the school, I'm all for him helping the school. I want to do it together. And there's been reports that I wouldn't report stuff. The maintenance department is annoyed with me now because I report everything all the time. For 3 years I've been reporting stuff, and I stay on them. I would love to sit down with Mr. Hennett to talk and move forward, and just to talk about the betterment of Dillard, and so we can do it as a joint thing, not against each other. I hate that. I don't like to be in this situation. I like to be in a situation. We have community members coming in from all over the place. We have churches that are connected with us. We have community, and then now Miss Clark. I'll tell you right now, I think she just retired now, but when I walked in, she had a grievance against the previous principal going on. And then I have praised her as one of my best teachers at Dillard Middle School since I've been here. I think she was a top-notch language arts teacher. Again, I would ask her, because she would, anytime she made a report or she saw something, she wouldn't make it to me. That was the problem. She would make it either through Mr. Hennett or through another means, not even our maintenance people, not even, someone else. And then it would come back. But I don't know why she was like that. because like I said, I was her number one supporter as a teacher.
Okay, so you may remember this because there's this one incident that she told me about today where, I think it was about October sometimes, I think you responded to, the accusation where, the students didn't return their report cards, and she said that she overheard you say, well, if y'all don't bring them tomorrow, I'm going to call the police. And
that was not. No. She's bringing that up from, that was my first year as principal. That was in 2000. Yeah.
She said that.
Yes, and she you know what? And she said, and I'm not going to sit here, Mr. Taylor, and say that I'm perfect. I'm never going to say that. Nobody is. Nobody's going to say everything correctly. And you know what? When she brought that to my attention, I said I thanked her for it. I thanked her for bringing that to my attention. And
yes.
I'm not one that won't take. If I'm going to be saying a whole lot of things every day. I'm going to be making a million decisions every day.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but and the reason she brought that up, I guess, was to relate it to this situation, as far as like that was your mindset coming in, as far as like the students needing to be policed rather than, and of course, during that time, of course, you had the George Floyd, the Ahmaud Arbery, all the police situations going around the country, and that could have been, seen as traumatic because, of course, the high instances of those, instances being shown on TV and things of that nature. So any mention of, that's almost sort of like a threat in itself. But once again, we all make mistakes. But
right.
That
but
kind
what
of
also should be said, Mr. Taylor, is that literally, in the 3 years that I've been here, not had to call the police once.
I understand. And
not had to.
Okay.
Nor do I want to ever again. But it's nice to know they're there if I need them, but not have to call them. And and I'm not even saying in this situation maybe everything was exactly right.
Okay.
Look, every day I go home and I reflect on almost all the decisions I make. Sometimes I'm proud of them. Sometimes I think, okay, well maybe next time I can do a little bit better or do this a little different. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
But that's everybody. That's how you should be, I think.
I understand, and I appreciate your honesty and your candidness. With that, because once again, we all come from different places. I understand. Right. I think you from Jersey, so there's a whole different culture. There's and things that may be normal for you. Like because she did mention like your tone, gets a little loud. I think Miss Harris and Miss Clark said you yell a lot. That's what they said. I mean honestly.
But the tone, I know because they would make jokes sometimes. Oh, he's from Jersey, or he's a Yankee from the North. Stuff like that.
So and I get like y'all are a little bit more confrontational, or and it's not even confrontational to y'all, but for us,
no, I know it's not. The way it's perceived.
Yeah, because I was eating lunch one day in Virginia Beach, and I was just looking at a guy. From the South, we look at people in their face, and by the time both of us finished eating, he came up to me and was like, "You got a problem?" I was like, "Nah, why?" He said, "You kept looking at me." You know what I'm saying? So little, I guess up north, you don't look at anybody unless you know them or whatever. But those just little nuances that I think sometimes may be taken out of character. But I definitely thank you for taking the time. And one last issue, I do gotta address this one, because they both Miss Hennon and Miss Clark, they did talk about the Mr. Chimambi, I think that's how you say his name.
Mr. Chimambi?
Yes. And they said that one day, he offered to go get something from your office, and you made I guess it was a joke saying, "Oh, what are you going to do? Run barefooted and get it?" And I think they took that as a
No, definitely. No, look, I'll admit to things I say. I definitely don't ever remember saying that.
Okay.
Don't remember saying that one at all. Now, me and Mr. Chimambi had an awesome relationship where we would joke with each other all the time. He would make jokes with me. He would bring back joke things from his country to me. So we had this long-going relationship. And anybody in the school would tell you, oh, they had a relationship where they joked with each other all the time. But I don't even remember that comment ever.
Okay.
I honestly don't remember that comment.
Yeah, I
Ever.
understand. I think I don't know how long they said that was, but there's like you said, there's certain things, certain people that you can't please everybody, but
Well, there are,
my concern.
but honestly, if you like yourself, like Mr. Hennett, like Miss Clark, like anybody, they're never going to say everything perfect.
You're right. You're
They're
right.
always going to slip up. I mean, there's. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Like
I put my foot in my mouth all the time, so you don't have to tell
I
me
do.
about that.
I do want to ask you one favor, though.
Yes, sir.
Like, if you could try to, I don't know how you could do it. Even if you could try to get Mr. Hennett to meet with me, I would love it.
Well, we talked because actually I did an interview with Miss Clark this morning, and you can go back and look at that. But he came afterwards and he was like he won't meet with me. So I mean, this is I guess
He's saying I won't meet with him.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said he's never you've never tried to meet.
I have his address because I don't have his email address, but I have his, we had his, because of a letter he sent me in the past, so I had his physical address. So on Thursday, now maybe he didn't get it yet, but on Thursday, and you can ask him this, on Thursday, I have, I wrote a handwritten letter, not typed it or anything, handwritten letter to him, and I put it in the mail Thursday, but it was late afternoon, so maybe he either just got it today or something, but I'm offering to meet with, I would love to meet with, and I even said just a meeting with me and him. We don't need other people,
You're right.
I just think when you talk to somebody one-on-one, you learn a lot more about that person. As opposed to all everything is hearsay. Because honestly, a lot of the stuff that he heard, now he was here sometime, but a lot of stuff was always just through the lens of Miss Clark.
Okay.
Because they're neighbors, but it's always through the lens. He wasn't here every day, but it's always through the lens of Miss Clark. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And like I said, Miss Clark, she has a tough time with authority, and she has a tough time with the two previous principals. She had a tough time with, but me, she never wrote a grievance against. She never really had a problem. Now, at one point, I told her to stop writing me because she was writing me some ugly emails sometimes.
Okay.
But please, I would love to meet with them,
Definitely.
Because there are two sides to everything, but I don't even like it. I don't even like it being called sides. I'm here.
Perceptions, I guess.
Yes, perceptions, and I'm not here to say no. I don't ever want to talk to him, or I don't. I would love to talk to him, and I would love for him to give me some suggestions, and I would love for him to be candid with me, right to my face, in a nice way. You know what I mean? Where we could talk things out, because he could I could understand some stuff that he's been saying. And then he could understand some decisions that I make or whatever, and you know what I mean. He could understand, like I'm talking to you right now. I think maybe I would hope that you have a little bit different or better feeling about me now than just what you heard, because before this phone call, all it was stuff that you've heard.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
you see what I mean?
That's why I mentioned when we first started talking. I'm reporting on the information that I was given. And of course,
right.
I think when you first texted me, I said I'm interested in truth and clarity. So,
right.
That's why I'm glad that you reached out, because, once again, if there's, a situation or a grievance within the community, is best to, bring everybody together and see how we can resolve that grievance.
To resolve it.
And understand.
Yeah, to resolve it. I would want nothing more than Mr. Henney and me to talk, and then we can resolve this and move forward, as opposed to just this going on. Because like I told you, I don't want perception of Dillard Middle School with or without me here. No, I'm not going to be here forever, but you know what I mean. I want to, what my goal is for when I leave here is that the perception of Dillard Middle School has increased tremendously since Mr. Ray was the principal. Meaning, and I don't mean that in a cocky or arrogant way, I mean that from the way it was, where teachers are proud to work here, or where students like coming to school here. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's what I want.
Okay. Well, I definitely, once again, I thank you. I think that, I've gotten some, clarity once again on the situation. I know the whole situation, especially with the young child, is fortunate. I know there's funding problems with the school, so I know there's, some things that are out of your hand. But
yes.
I want
but
to.
try to get Mr. Hinnant to tell him about that letter that I'm saying, and just tell him to reach out to me. You can give him my number. It's fine. I put my number in that letter.
Yeah.
But he should be getting a letter. So.
Okay. Well, I definitely let him know, and I think once the school start, I definitely like to come meet with you. Well, because I'm an author, I'm a speaker, and I like to encourage young kids.
Yeah.
I've
would love
traveled.
For you to come out, and you come out.
Yeah.
And we can even set up, because I'm putting, it's funny you call, because we're doing, me and my assistant principal, I'm doing what we call a discipline matrix, and one of the things we're putting in, like let's say they get in a second fight of the year, so we're putting, then we partner with the restorative justice program from the chamber,
okay,
or communities and schools, they have a restorative justice program, so we can assign a kid to the restorative justice program after, say, their second fight, and then where the restorative justice people, they go out and visit with them and talk to them and, stuff like that. But, so different things, but and also what we like to do, Miss Wilson and myself, she's my assistant principal, we get people like yourself, you just said, speaking to them, where, if we have a group that is, repeat offenders in school suspension, then to get you to come and speak to them,
definitely.
to get them in a group and speak to them. Sometimes it's too, I'd rather do a focus group like that as opposed to speaking to every kid in the school because
it doesn't apply. Yeah, it doesn't apply to every kid.
And so why don't after this opening of school, just call me and we'll set up a time. You come in and we can even set up, even if you did it on a monthly basis, or even something like that.
Yeah, that'd be
that's
perfect.
What I would like. If Mr. Hinnant talks to me, you can tell him I would love him to do stuff, especially now that Miss Clark's not here. I would love to get him in here to do stuff like that, to speak to groups of kids like that.
Okay, I definitely will.
I think if we work together, I could give you guys the focus groups, and so we know. I just think it'll have more meaning. I just think if we work together, we can achieve a whole lot more.
I understand.
That's what I want to do.
Understand.
But yeah, so just if you call me if you need me, okay?
All right.
Then definitely call me in the first couple weeks of school.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Ray, for your time. You have a blessed day.
All right. Bye bye.
So there you have it. Mr. Ray responds to the accusations, and I wasn't there. So I have to take it, as a grain of salt. On both sides, but of course, hopefully this interview and the subsequent videos will bring about some sort of resolve to the situation. Thank y'all for tuning in. God bless y'all. Peace and blessings.